What's going on, Gemini? And welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and I hope you're having an exciting month so far. Gemini, it's that time. But before we get into that, for those of you who are returning, welcome back, Soul Tribe. I appreciate your subscriptions, your likes, and shares. Your support really is just fantastic, Gemini, and it keeps us growing. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I'm happy to have yourself inspired you here. We're in for an amazing journey. And Gemini, before we get into this thing, just a reminder, I am open for personal readings. Things have been going smoothly so far there, Gemini. So if you want to book a reading with me, there are some calendar links down in the description box below. If you want to, since we're getting into this monthly spread here in a little bit, and if you want to find out how the transiting planets are affecting your chart personally, we can work with that, Gemini. Or if you just want to understand Gemini energy on a deep level, or how there may be multiple of that in your charts, or how they interact with other elements in your charts as well, do that. Or there's some tarot card readings as different types of tarot card. Well, half an hour and an hour there, Gemini. So definitely check that out. It's either in my description box or in the link on my bio on Instagram. And let that be a reminder, Gemini, I'll never reach out to you for readings. This will be something where you reach out to me. So something to be aware of with these scammers abouts and things. But I think that's all the housekeeping. So Gemini, with this, Gemini, let me tell you why I'm so excited. Because it is Celestial News Monthly. I can't believe I was about to just move on like that wasn't a big deal there, Gemini, because it's a massive deal. It's like slightly. When the sun moves into a new sign, we're going to talk about where the planets are at and how we can work with the energies, Gemini. And just so y'all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one, so take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me, and never force a reading on a situation, okay? So with all that being said there, Gemini, let's jump into it. Your space has been cleansed. Crystals, feeling lovely. Just great energy all around here, Gemini. Now I have Zodiac Oracle cards here with the signs that the sun and the planets are in. I'm going to pull one card for each one of them from this deck here, and then we'll get some details with the tarot. But before we jump into this thing, Gemini, these readings that I do, they're not gender-specific readings, so apply these energies to people as they make sense for your situations, okay? And in case if y'all were curious, the decks that I'm working with, I've included links to them down in the description box below, so definitely check that out if you're interested. But also down below are some links for some other readers that I like watching their Gemini. Check them out. They're a fantastic group. I think you'd enjoy them. And there's a link for an astrologer that I like working with. Apparently I'm going to be working with her soon. That actually will raise my vibration through the roof. So we're going to just manifest that, Gemini. But also I enjoy her content as well. And there's also some links for a couple of podcasts that I like, as well as a few apps that I love working with Gemini. And since we're going to be exchanging information and learning a bit more about your chart, it might be nice to have these tools in your tool belt. See if there are any questions that you may have there. So something to just keep in mind there, Gemini. Avail yourself of this information. Oh, thank you, guys. But before we get into this energy, and actually this big birthday bash that Pisces is throwing, they're going ham. There are some aspects that I wanted to talk about with you, Gemini, that kind of some big ones that are going to be happening for this season. And this one will kind of affect you too there, Gemini, especially if you have any Gemini placements around 16 degrees there. And because you have the Chiron conjunct the North Node in Aries. And this is going to be happening, and it's exact on the 19th of February. Now, when you think about this Aries energy, this is about, I feel like, I feel like, this is really kind of asking how we can kind of heal that sense of courage there, Gemini. Aries energy is like our survival instinct. Them being ruled by Mars, this is how we express bravery, even in the face of fear. How do we keep going? Was there something in the past that may have affected this self-esteem, this confidence possibly? Or is there something that's out of balance where we may be overcompensating, where we may be creating tension where there may not be there? What have we been? I feel like it's like asking this primal sense, as far as like, how have you been wounded with Chiron, and how can I heal that? And where does that evolution, or where's that evolution taking me to? And really just kind of understanding yourself really at this, I feel like this very kind of base, very kind of root chakra type of energy there, just like how the actions that we've even taken define this sense of security. And but the nice thing about this too, and we'll talk about this a little bit, I feel like this could be an opportunity for some really easy, like not necessarily easy growth, but it could be something that can go real kind of smoothly there, Gemini, because depending on how close this degree, or where these points are crossing on your Gemini placements, they're forming sextiles. Because it's like you got the North Node that's coming through one way, and then you have Chiron that's coming the other way. So it's like there's going to be this purge on either side here. A lot of opportunities for some healing, for understanding yourself on a deeper level there, to get more curious about what's going on within you. And yeah, just attaining more of this kind of inner knowledge there, Gemini. So allow this energy to be something that, to invite you to see where we can heal the self and things like that. But also, there's going to be another conjunction that's going to be happening that's involving your ruler and two other players here, because you have the Sun, Mercury, and Saturn are going to be conjunct in Pisces. And this is when you want to keep out too, if you have any Gemini placements around 9 degrees, because you'll probably be feeling this one a little bit more potently. Probably within like 1 degree of this sign, I feel like, when it comes to conjunction. So with the North Node in Aries, if you have any cardinal placements, any air placements, or even any fire placements, within that kind of 15th, 16th, 17th degree, then you may be kind of feeling this a little bit more. That one's affecting my Jupiter placement a little bit. But yeah, you have the Sun, Mercury, and Saturn that are going to be junked again, all at 19 degrees on the 28th of February. Now, this can be a really great kind of energy for you to challenge yourself there, Gemini, which is appropriate because this is going to be, especially when all these planets are going to be traversing through Pisces, they're all going to be forming squares with your Gemini placements, which I feel like is going to ask you, is going to challenge this if you have your Sun placements, like challenge your sense of self. And then with Mercury coming through, it's going to affect how you perceive this world, your thoughts, how you're processing this immediate environment, and what thoughts come up for you to that. And then Saturn is going to want you to take how are we incorporating all of this information, and how are we grounding this in our world there, Gemini? What does this mean going forward? Sort of like intuitive nudges are we starting to get with this energy? This can really be one of some just kind of just big questions to kind of ask ourselves as a soul tribe. And I feel there's going to be this energy of understanding our limitations in a sense, because I feel like that's one thing that Saturn does very well. He's not doing this to say we can't accomplish this thing, but it's just like adding this sense of realism to that bigness and nebulous energy that is Pisces, and finding out where we maybe need to break things up there, as far as like to achieve whatever these dreams that you have in mind there, Gemini. So just something I feel like to kind of contemplate there. And even I feel like some ways, like, because when we think about Pisces, this can be this energy of letting go as well. and kind of putting these endings to any sort of karmic cycles and things. So there may even be for some, maybe some ideas that we may have been clinging to for a while where we need to maybe shelve that and take the experience that we got from that and apply to a new endeavor. So something to just kind of some serious, like just some sort of bigger things to think about. But now let's get on to this big old birthday bash that's getting thrown down in Pisces, because it is a massive one there, Gemini. So I got a little more talking for you to do there. And this is going to be kind of an interesting one for you there, Gemini, because you have the sun that's entering Pisces. Your ruler is going to be entering Pisces, which I really enjoy that. The lovely Empress, Venus, will be entering into Pisces. And then you also still have Saturn and Neptune that's in Pisces as well. So yeah, we got a whole big shindig that's going down. Now, let's talk about let's get some water and let's talk about the sun. Because the sun is going to be entering Pisces on the 18th of February, and that'll be about 11:13 p.m. Eastern time there, Gemini. And then we'll be there through the 19th of March. Now, Pisces marks the end of the astrological year, and this is a period that is ideal for reflection that has over this past year that has been happening over this cycle, and getting ready for this Aries season to begin, because your ruler is going to be kind of busy in Pisces, and I feel like this is going to be a nice one for you, Gemini, going from this sense of challenging energy with Pisces forming these squares to this more easier flowing energy when we start getting into that more Aries season. But this transit is often seen as a time for healing and release, and an opportunity to let go any sort of past hurts, to exercise this energy of forgiveness, to kind of find closure, to have this level of compassion that Pisces has for, maybe not meeting these certain expectations of ourselves that we wanted to there, Gemini, or maybe others not meeting where we needed or wanted them to be. And I'm getting this energy of just this radical acceptance, but in that there just blooms this like unconditional love there, Gemini. But also intuition is heightened during this time. This is a time when the collective focus turns a bit more towards like emotional depth, spirituality, introspection. So this can really even be a great time too for you, Gemini. I know, Gemini can be great communicators. Of course, that's like the staple for, like when people think about Geminis, but you really are great at just really kind of great at processing all of the stimuli that are happening in your immediate environment, taking everything, just piecing it all together. So this can be a great time for you to piece together different thoughts and more sort of go in this real kind of state of observation, get into this listening type of space, and not just how others are communicating with you, but how your environment is communicating with you a little bit. And yeah, really, really stuff there. But one challenge with this energy there, Gemini, is the temptation towards escapism. Because Pisces energy is one that, because of that sensitivity, can maybe be overwhelmed, and when things don't appear as beautiful, as dreamy as they had wished, then there could be this tendency to want to escape the reality and really face the truth and create this boundary or this barrier that may be to their detriment. So just something to pay attention to there, Gemini. Now your ruler, Mercury, is going to be entering into Pisces on the 23rd of February. Now it'll be about 2:29 a.m. and will be there through the 9th of March. And I really love when Mercury is in a water sign, because I feel that gives both you and Virgo, considering that's the signs that Mercury rules, this energy to be a bit more intuitive, to kind of come from a less analytical or kind of logical place there and come from a more kind of open type of place. Examine how maybe these thoughts make you feel, what sort of like things, even kind of, I feel like just kind of just something I feel like really bigger around you there, Gemini. This is a very kind of psychic place for Mercury to be. And I feel that maybe even, again, just be very present in the conversations that you have with people, with nature, within yourself. And it's staying grounded in all of this, Gemini. I feel because your mind does work so quick that there could be this tendency to get lost in that. So again, just keep, because our imagination sometimes can work to our detriment if we're not mindful. So I feel like for you, Gemini, making sure that we're grounding this energy, maybe even writing some of these things down that may come up for you, these downloads and things, these observations, these thoughts that do spur up these questions, and just kind of be curious about, again, this idea of something bigger than yourself. What does your spiritual practice look like, in a sense? Because there's this barrier that happens between Mercury enters into Pisces, where the conscious and subconscious mind become more porous and allows you to meet yourself more deeper psychologically, and to uncover some patterns, kind of piece together some things there, Gemini, do some healing. So that's lovely. And then I'll talk about your ruler is going to move into Aries, which I'll talk about on the next energy. But then the lovely Venus Empress is going to be entering on the 11th of March, and that'll, at 11th of March at about 5:50 p.m. And then we'll be there through the 5th of April. And this is a particularly lovely placement for the Empress to be, because after Taurus and Libra, the signs that she rules, she's exalted in Pisces. So she's very strong in Pisces, and her love runs deep in Pisces. And I feel this is a place where we can meet others more, be more empathetic towards each other's needs, and be a bit more compassionate, allow ourselves, maybe if there's some bridges that we're wanting to be mended, this could be where you can really understand the other side and maybe do some healing work in that regard, or maybe even to notice where, because one aspect of this is that this willingness to kind of over-sacrifice in relationships. And so yeah, this could be one where we're even learning to exercise these different boundaries, in a sense, observing where we kind of cross a line, or where we maybe even kind of lost ourselves, in a sense. Because one thing I feel with Gemini energy sometimes is that, and all the air signs have this propensity, because you do take in your immediate environments and how that processes, that's sometimes where you'll speak from as well. And so I feel we just want to be aware of how sometimes we can take on something as true, or how we piece things together in order to get to a certain truth, is what I'm even kind of feeling here. Or yeah, just keeping this, that we may mirror what we've heard from others and not pursue our own truth, in a sense. So I just feel that's something we want to be mindful of there, Gemini. Then you have Saturn. We're almost done there. And then you have Saturn that is going to be in Pisces until the 24th of, to the 24th of May, 2025. Now, Saturn's been in Pisces since last year on the 23rd, and he's finally moving into Pisces, and this brings about a more kind of disciplined approach to how we approach spirituality, and embracing, again, how I feel like, because I feel like Gemini, I just read something not too long ago, and it really kind of flipped on my head how I kind of view Gemini energy a little bit. And I do feel like you are the great communicators, but it's because, again, you have this perceptive skills. You just you can take in all of the things around, and it's just like boom, 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 boom. So I feel like there is this energy of taking that need to be, maybe that's really kind of scattered, or maybe it's kind of all over the place, and just getting it a little more focused, in a sense, you know, getting maybe a little more disciplined with how we're processing stuff instead of being a master of none, maybe being an expert in some. You know, maybe kind of take it, like kind of hone that a little bit. You know, because I do feel like, and it's like finding things that I feel can like still, you can grow in it while it's still feeding your curiosities. Like every time you grow, it would be similar to how kind of astrology is for me in a sense. It's like as I go down these rabbit holes, it's still pertaining to this main focus, but the Gemini moon in me gets this fulfillment of, oh, I can do, look at this, I can look at that, I can look at this, I can look at that, and then I can, how it opens up, like it keeps my mind open in a way, it keeps me curious. Oh, well, what does that combination mean? What does this possibly mean? How do I intuit this? And you know, I feel too with this energy that it is learning to how to shield oneself from kind of negative energies and emotional overwhelm to get into this place where we are maybe not just, I feel like it's not necessarily just being still and sitting in meditation, but finding something that works for you. I feel Gemini energy benefits with journaling, kind of just getting the thoughts grounded in a sense, kind of dumping the mind, because I feel like you do take in a lot during a daily basis. It's like, you know, that's just one thing I feel like in noticing to see if we can see any kind of patterns or anything like that, Gemini. But also this could be a very constructive time for you as well to pursue any type of creative endeavors, because I feel Gemini energy is one that can be expressed through writing, through speaking, through however this may look for you. This could be through poetry, but allowing ourselves to just like really kind of connect to source and create in this deeper type of way there, Gemini, with Saturn being in Pisces. But then lastly, you have Neptune that's been traversing Pisces. She's the modern ruler of Pisces, and she's been there since 2011 and will be there until the 30th of March. Well, she'll retrograde. I think she'll retrograde between Pisces and Aries a little bit. So this is going to be some, especially if you have some early degrees of Gemini, you know, this is going to really kind of affect you a little bit. You may feel this a little more potently than others. So my moon sign's at the 0 degree of Gemini, and there's been a lot that's been going on, especially with Pluto doing some stuff there. But Neptune in Pisces, candle have went out there, Gemini. But people feel a stronger, and you may have noticed too that there's been this challenge of feeling this connection to the divine, to, you know, understanding something bigger than yourselves, you know, the universe. You're, you know, finding your own kind of spiritual path, and maybe even notice on a collective level how the things that you've taken in, noticing how the conversation has shifted, how people are interacting with each other more energetically, talking about energies and how people are feeling, and being a little more mindful of these little nuances and things. And you know, on a level too, this could be where, with all this Pisces energy, because Neptune's getting ready to wrap up her almost like 14-year long trek through Pisces, and you know, we won't experience this energy again. So, you know, there may be even this kind of collective level shift where we'll see a rise in kind of like global movements and an emphasis towards like unity, compassion, especially with all this kind of Aquarius energy going on now. We can see this sort of like potential for like disillusionment with like existing structures or beliefs. And I feel like this really kind of offers an opportunity for kind of like just real deep soul level healing, both individually and collectively, and really kind of like allowing like this, any sort of like karmic debts or anything to be finally resolved, or at least taking steps towards that direction there. So you know, I feel like this is a nice energy too as we begin to, because both Neptune and Saturn will be beginning a new cycle, having going through Pisces here. You know, starting next year, they're going to be crossing that cusp and getting adjusted to this new energy. So there'll be some very interesting stuff. But like I was saying, this is forming a square with your sign, and squares are kind of challenging energies. You know, I feel that this energy has been kind of pushing you to look past, again, your immediate surroundings in a sense, to experience something a little deeper there, Gemini, beyond what the eyes can see, beyond what you can just hear, feel, taste, sense, really more so on that deeper type of third eye type of energy there, tapping into that like crown chakra, really, really getting in this kind of higher mind energy, because your ruler would have just been talking with, depending on when you're watching this, just had had their conjunction with Pluto not too long ago in Aquarius, and now there's this just something bigger that's being challenged here, Gemini. So, but let's get into your first energy here, which I really which I like this, because you have the 17th card, which is the Shamanic Healer, which is a card of cleansing and attunement. And this is the 17th card, which is Aquarius energy, the star. And I do feel that there is some sort of maybe spiritual mending that's happening here, Gemini. Maybe your energies have been geared more towards like social media, maybe be getting lost in maybe just sort of like, because I feel Gemini energy too is one that it's just like, it's nice to have that focus, but I feel like it's being careful about in things that keep you stagnant, where we're just kind of learning for learning's sake, as opposed to taking in things and putting some of what we learned into application. But I do feel that there is this needing of kind of grounding the energies that you and cleansing the energies that you are taking in there, Gemini, because I feel there is this possibility for overload in a sense, finding ways to ground yourself, whether this be maybe through cooking, or maybe this is through moving the body, or maybe this is through, whether that be working out or some sort of yoga, you know, just really kind of tuning within, just like, it's almost like kind of, it's like, you know, when you go from, it's like, I'm just picturing you as you're growing, you're crossing, maybe if you've ever driven through America, how, or just anywhere, how you'll have one radio station and then the frequency changes. And it's just like, it's all this static and stuff. And now it's like I'm picturing you just kind of retuning into how Gemini operates in this energy now, allowing some sort of opportunity for you to, you're just attuned to higher forces here, Gemini. Really kind of see things from a different type of perspective here over these next few years, I feel, with all, and especially with all this energy kind of traveling through Pisces. But because a lot of, I mean, these outer planets are getting ready to get out of this energy, and then, you know, we won't be talking about Pluto entering Pisces until, you know, about 20 years from now. So, but let me get some tarot cards on this Shamanic Healer there, Gemini, and get some details. Alright, Gemini, thank you guys. Let's see what story we got here. Alright, Gemini. Look at all this motion here. Because you have the Three of Wands, the Ace of Wands, the Knight of Wands, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Chariot card here, Gemini. Let's start with this Knight of Wands, because I feel this energy is you I feel like this is you. I feel like it's tuning into things that provide this. For some, it's this sense of fun that in this cleansing, this could be just doing just doing some new things possibly. Maybe this could be maybe traveling to a place that you've never been. You know, I feel like this Knight of Wands is in need of some sort of excitement, some sort of journey that's needing to happen here. And I feel that it's something that is more kind of intuitive, that this could be whether, you know, like the Ace of Wands is this energy of creation. You know, this can be, you know, considered like a phallic card, and when you think about that, it's just like I feel like there's just been this rush of energy and we're not sure where to channel it. So now there's this need to, I feel, really kind of tune in. And this feels more kind of emotional, type of more kind of what the heart wants in a sense, you know, because Mercury, your ruler, is ruled by the mind, or is associated with the mind. But, you know, the Knight of Wands and even the Chariot, this is Cancer energy, there's something that, again, just more heart-based that's needing to be worked on there, so that, and enjoying the growth that comes from that, the new type of abundance I feel comes from this. And this could be where it feels like that we're just, even for some, it's yeah, it's like this it's this adventure energy that I'm really kind of getting, you know, whether this be maybe exploring a new book possibly, or just like, or maybe even a certain type of idea of how we're doing something is wanting to be cleansed, you know. Alright, Gemini, but I think I'm going to leave that there. I hope that that makes sense. Alright, but let's get into this next energy here, which I like this one. Because you have Mercury that's going to be entering into Aries on the 9th of March, which will be about 11:03 p.m. And then we'll be there through the 15th of May. And why so long? Because your ruler is going to be going retrograde on the 1st, which we'll talk about that when we get into Aries season next month. So we still have a bit of time for that there, Gemini. But I like this because Mercury in Aries, I feel that this, you know, it's like after we do this cleansing, you know, sort of like as far as like kind of asking ourselves, where have we been going? What have we been? What have we learned? How do we want to grow from here? How do we want to invest in ourselves? I feel that Aries ignites that fire. This Pisces energy allows you to dream and get this stuff together, and then it can be off to the races when Mercury enters there. You'll feel more bold, more courageous, more that anything is possible, I feel, with this energy. And I feel this is one where just kind of keep a pen and paper around there, Gemini, because I feel like that this could spur across a lot of ideas, a lot of things we can turn some things to, and can potentially, again, I keep getting this feeling of just sort of like overwhelm in a sense. So I feel like just kind of keeping these things in order so that they're not just all sort of like swimming around in your head there, Gemini. But I do feel like this can be a great energy for you to just like start the beginning, starting to set some tasks there. And then by the time that you get to the retrograde, where the energy slow down and they begin to, allows you that time to reflect on what you've done. We can kind of recalibrate stuff, retune into where things have been going, and then get back on track as soon as Mercury goes direct there. So this could be a very effective energy for you. And depending on where your placements are at, this is forming a sextile with your signs, which sextiles are very easy energies, very easy flowing, but it's something that we have to take advantage of there, Gemini. So, and Aries deals with the self. So now this is going to invite you to take again what's going on in your environment, how the energies are communicating with you, and how we're taking action going forward there. But let's get some, and I like that because that'll even be, I feel like it'll be even in towards your betterment, not just for you, but for even society, the people around your environment, because the dispositor of where your rule will be is Mars, who will be in Aquarius, where Mercury does very well in. So, very productive time that could happen there, Gemini. But let me see. And because I'm even kind of feeling with that ninth, or excuse me, with the shamanic healer, that maybe there's some things that we've observed that we've had some kind of hang-ups on there, Gemini, and we're just sort of processing how do we meet that without prejudice, maybe even for some is what I'm getting. But so that's interesting there. Oh, so I was talking about going on this adventure and stuff there, Gemini. Thank you, guys. So I'm gonna double down on that because you have the journey guide here, which is a card of travel and change in location. So this may be for some here, Gemini. I mean, you got the Chariot energy here. The Three of Wands can be this card. Usually there's like this boat, these different modes of transportation. So this could be where we're needing to kind of go get some more experiences there, Gemini. Maybe we're at this place where we've hit a peak, where things have gotten sort of, because I feel if Gemini ever gets to a place where it's kind of like the same thing, different day, or there's no, and I don't even just mean in your routine, but there's been no sort of like, when that curiosity hasn't been satiated, but not in like an overly sense, you know, then I feel like that's the time to get out there and just kind of put yourself out there. Go do something you've never done before, or even trying to find something new maybe in your day-to-day life. Kind of challenge yourself a little bit if traveling is not feasible for you maybe at the moment. What are some things we're noticing about our environment that we hadn't noticed before? How is the sun hitting my window today different than how it did hit yesterday? What are the different sounds that I'm hearing outside compared to what I heard, normally? What are some things that I'm seeing? Look at the development of such and such over there, or there's this new, I'm just picturing you just a lot of motion there, Gemini, whether this be maybe traveling through your neighborhood in a sense, just kind of going around, maybe it's getting acquainted with, or this could even be too, I was listening just to a podcast, and this person, their son's in Libra, and they were saying that even in like their social media, that they'll include some people who they may not necessarily agree with, but they'll respect the fact of their opinion and the facts that are presented with it, because it is something that there could be a debate on. We can agree to disagree, but just so that it breaks up the cycle, like, do I still feel the way I do about maybe where I'm staying, or maybe where I'm views, or maybe where I've kind of gotten locked in a place where I've not been flexible. Maybe I need to find a new, different sense of self with Mercury being in Aries. Maybe this sparks up some sort of, this maybe like wanderlust for something new, something exciting, something, Let me get some tarot on this, Gemini, and get some details. Maybe we're planning for something. This may even not be immediate, but maybe we're planning for something in the future there. Maybe we're going to go on some sort of trip, or Gemini. Thank you, guys. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, interesting. All right. So you have the Nine of Cups, the Ten of Cups, the Nine of Wands, the Knight of Swords, the Hierophant, the Devil, and the Judgment card here, Gemini. Where do we want to start? All right, let's start with this Judgment card here, because, you know, this is a time for the air signs. You know, this is a, you know, you have Pluto, which has been forming, and I feel like a lot of fast growth can happen here with Pluto getting ready to, because over these next 20 years, depending on where your Gemini placement or wherever you have air placements, whether, you know, maybe you're Gemini and you have, or maybe you're Gemini rising and have maybe a Libra sun or a Libra moon or something along those lines. Your air placements are about to get, or maybe you got some Aquarius placements and there's some conjunctions that's getting ready to happen, but there is a transformation that is going to, or an opportunity for you to leave behind, you know, some maybe some devils that we may have been carrying with us for a while there. Some things that may have been getting in the way of your dreams there, Gemini, with this Nine of Cups and making them come true with this Ten of Cups here. Maybe there's some beliefs that are being challenged with the Hierophant. Maybe there's something where we're needing to come at things with a more innovative approach, with the more, being a little more individualistic and being, how I was saying with the earlier with kind of with the Knight of Swords here, being a little more focused on what we're doing as maybe opposed to kind of burning ourselves out of here. You're not really, I'm getting this sort of non-committal type of energy, just sort of just dabbling in a bunch of things but not really locking down. And I mean, that's fine there, Gemini, but I feel like it's this need of going from maybe this forever student of life and going on into this teacher, taking what you've observed in things and how have you processed that, you know, what are you distilling from that, and what else can you learn from maybe other perspectives as well there, Gemini. But it's very fascinating. I feel that this is I'm even feeling for some that there may be this maybe mentor that might be coming in for you, or maybe you're becoming this mentor there, Gemini. But you know, the Judgment card is this rebirth, this new. This is like the culmination of all of your experiences through this season, and how's that gonna transform you, and what does the next set of task and things look like here with the Devil being here, because this is Capricorn energy, just kind of like this looking to just the future, because when we have different dreams and and whether this is permanently or not, I do feel there is this need of just kind of having a change in environment for a little bit there, Gemini, just because just something feels very stale. Maybe we need some space from Ten of Cups, our family, our community, needing to broaden that a little bit more. Maybe we need to maybe even just change locations in our minds, you know, think in a more kind of unconditional way. Maybe we have these sort of traditions or things that we follow, and yeah, just time to think a little more broader, a little bit more. But I'm gonna leave that there, Gemini. All right, now let's talk about this Aquarius energy here, because you have Mars that is in Aquarius, and then you have Pluto that's going to be hanging in Aquarius. Granted, he'll retrograde one more time back into Capricorn during, I want to say like around between Virgo and Libra season. I want to say that when he retrogrades back into Capricorn. But let's start with Mars, because Mars is going to be entering into Aquarius on the 22nd of February, and that's interesting, you know, 222. and at about 1:05 a.m. and will be there through the 22nd of March. And with this energy there, Gemini, this transit really kind of encourages a more assertive approach to an innovative approach to our challenges and taking more kind of unconventional methods and entertaining these sort of like wild ideas in a sense that may just kind of come to us. But there may be a tendency, since we're talking about the Hierophant here, I feel like maybe for some there may be this challenge of maybe we're used to the always having to be in this one place. Maybe we've been running this family business, for example, but we want to break out and become an artist, or maybe ride your bike across your chariot across the country, or whatever that's like. Maybe you want to go join the papacy, whatever that's like. I'm with it, but whatever this is there, Gemini, I do feel like that there's going to be this can give you an opportunity here to change some things, to challenge your ideas in a sense, to find where we may have taken maybe what we've learned from those around us and the things that we've taken on and just kind of embodied in a sense and kind of lost that flexibility a little bit. And because, Aquarius is the fixed air sign. You are probably the most fluid of the air signs, considering that you have that mutability, can see things from, experience things from different perspectives. But, this may be a point, or this might be a point where there may be something that kind of curls up in you. Maybe we feel this sort of some sort of internal challenge that's happening in a sense, a cleansing, some sort of call that's getting ready to, is what I'm kind of experiencing, this kind of Mars and Aquarius energy for you here, to kind of ask yourself, who are you in the collective? Are you just someone who just observes, or are we taking what we're doing and providing this guidance for others, having these more sort of like different maybe conversations, taking what we know and kind of broadening its reach a little bit, maybe voicing our ideas in a sense there, Gemini, and not just, that's very interesting too. And I feel like even being mindful of being forceful about certain ideas, again, keeping an open mind with this energy, because Mars can, on a lower expression, be that aggression and try to force one's point of view with Aquarius energy. So that's something I feel like to keep in mind of their Gemini. That's interesting how that came through. But then you have Pluto. That's going to be in Aquarius as well. And he'll be there until 2043 there, Gemini. And this transit is likely to bring really kind of significant societal and political reforms. It's very revolutionary energy. You may go through with again, Pluto going to be forming these trines with wherever you have Gemini placements, or even air placements, or even where you have energy, if you have fixed energy, whether this be Taurus, Aquarius, Scorpio, or Leo. And yeah, it's just going to be doing a lot of this can be a chance for, there could even be like this internal revolution where part of you is just like, all these culmination of maybe who we've embodied is up for review, even is what I'm feeling, understanding, because Pluto brings up things from the depths, and I feel Gemini energy is one where things can be expressed so quickly, just making sure that we're not, I feel it's like you slowing down a little bit. When I'm saying there's this overload that's happening, not just taking what we've heard and just putting it out there, kind of analyzing this on ourselves there first. And then taking what we've learned, instead of getting in this where, this like, this prophet type of energy. This is what I'm kind of seeing with the with the Hierophant being here, just being a bit more intentional, going with a sense of wisdom, not forcing the opinion, but like inviting the opportunity for a different perspective and seeing how we can have maybe more constructive conversations around these sort of the ways that future is changing there, Gemini. And you could be at the forefront for that, help making that transition a bit easier for yourself and maybe even for the other signs there, Gemini. So that's even interesting how that's coming through. So I like that, Gemini. Yeah, like depending on where your placements are, yeah, this is forming that trine, which removes blockages, which makes things a lot easier flowing. It's not to say it won't be difficult, but it won't be nearly as draining possibly, or just removes some of the roadblocks. You know, my son is always in conversation with Pluto. I have a trine forming with that. And change is something that Plutonian stuff, and me changing who I am does come a lot easier for me than others. And it's not to say it's not difficult, don't get me wrong. But, you know, I feel like this can be where it's kind of like that sort of flow. You know, things could evolve a lot easier for you there, Gemini. But let me get some tarot on this, or excuse me, an oracle on this and get some details. I feel like this could be you communicating more thoughtfully with yourself and how you process information more thoughtfully. You know, it's going through a more delicate sort of procedure there. Still maybe coming in fast, but it's just that we're, again, not quick to take it maybe at face value, if that makes sense. Thank you, guys. But you have the 9th card here, which is the Healing Heart. And this is a card of love, acceptance, and romance there, Gemini. And this is Hermit energy with that 9th card. That's Virgo's energy. And I feel with this Healing Heart there, Gemini, I feel for some there's this acceptance of maybe where this transformation and this cleansing can be. Because maybe this devil here is, you know, we've taken on this, there's this stigma maybe around, maybe this is something with alcoholism, maybe this is something with food, maybe this is something with codependency, and, you know, there are these views that are on it, but I feel like seeing not something necessarily as is inherently good or bad, it's just a fact, and coming at it maybe from that approach. Like, what I mean with that is, because there's a side of me that, you know, kind of struggled with sort of devil energies, and I've learned to accept that person who struggled with that, who helped me get to this place where I'm at now, but he needed to go through the experience that I need in order for this me to be here now, compassionate for, because then I feel that this is too, the energies are, especially getting into this Pisces energy, learning how to love and accept ourselves, create this almost romance within ourselves there in order to meet others that deeply there as well, to be able to change in location, maybe even this is just like a change in what we're accepting, you know, broadening our view in a sense, pushing our perspectives or even our prejudices or something a little bit bigger there, Gemini, you know. But let me get some tarot with this and get some details with this energy there, Gemini. Ha! There's that star energy. Thank you, spirits. Let's see what's going on here. Alright, so you have the Star card, the Page of Cups, the Six of Cups, the Eight of Pentacles, and then the Temperance card, which is Sagittarius energy. And let's start with Sag. Because, you know, Sagittarius is your opposite sign, Gemini, and they're ones that seek out different perspectives. They're ones that grow from this, except very similar to you. You and Sagittarius have, I feel like, the most, as far as like opposites go. I feel like it's not quite getting lost in the details and kind of seeing this bigger picture here. There's something very healing or a potential opportunity for you to share in newer experiences here. I feel like with this Six of Cups, to accept maybe others' feelings with a bit more openness, a bit more compassion. It's not that we're necessarily excusing someone for maybe operating in a lower vibration or making these mistakes, but see, it's like this Page of Cups, I feel like it gives us this chance to I feel like maybe heal some sort of past way we used to operate. Maybe they're, for the most part, we're open about certain things, but there's those things that that are no longer up for discussion or something along those lines there, Gemini. That's very interesting. Maybe this is some sort of, because I'm even getting an immature energy that's coming through here with the Page of Cups. Like there's this, like of certain feelings may have gotten hurt, or there was this, like we had this like maybe this impression of something, a situation maybe had sort of romanticized something, whatever that might be looking like. But I feel this Eight of Pentacles being here is this opportunity just to kind of, I'm just getting this energy of kind of, again, cleaning things up a little bit. Seeing the areas that are needing some growth, that may be here, where we may be feeling out of balance here with the Temperance card. Because the Temperance card is the opposing energies being in, two opposing energies being in peace with one another. And so I feel there may be some kind of challenging things there that we need to come with just a newer level, newer acceptance here, something along those lines, Gemini. But, take that as it resonates. But let's get to your last energy here, Gemini, which is Taurus. Because you have Big Papa, Jupiter, that's in Taurus, and then you have Uranus that's in Taurus. And Jupiter is going to be in Taurus until the 25th of May, and then it'll be entering your sign here soon, Gemini. So that's exciting. Big Papa's getting ready to come bring some blessings. But, well, he's still in Taurus for this little while longer. He's been in Taurus since the 16th of May last year, 2023. And I feel like this energy now, as we get closer to your sign, or get closer to where he's getting ready to move out, thinking about how we've been investing and saving over this time, and how have we been seeing any favorable growth in the investments, whether this be in ourselves, maybe we've taken action towards these habits, whatever this is looking like. But just seeing areas where we weren't feeling, where we were feeling this kind of lack of self-worth in a sense, or feeling this insecurity possibly, and how have we strengthened that foundation till then, or have we been putting things off, and there's a need to kind of pick up on this a little bit, like not to ignore this energy with the devil and start putting in that healing energy, that growing energy. But it also shows too that there is reward in this consistency, with establishing this continuity, with not allowing ourselves to get maybe distracted from the goal at hand there, Gemini. But I feel too that this does remind us to return to simplicity as well, and find joy in the simple pleasures of life, because we can be in such a place, we've gotten to this sort of tendency to constantly strive for more, and never getting satiated in a sense, nothing ever quite being enough. And I do feel like how the Eight of Pentacles, how this bird here, this owl is being, cleaning up all the things that it does have. I feel like it is, just, I feel like there's this, just again, like this appreciation for what you've amassed thus far. And are the things that you have invested in, are they doing it for you anymore? Are they promoting this growth? But then you also have Uranus that's in Taurus, and he's been there since 2018. He'll be there until 2025, or excuse me, till the 7th of July 2025, which then he'll be entering your sign as well, which I feel like is going to be a very interesting one for you, Gemini. But this has been a very interesting energy for Taurus to be in, because this has, again, Taurus is about that structure, and what we value. And this, there have been challenges on societal values, is, particularly those related to like materialism, consumption, and what we've considered valuable, and kind of finding this finding the stability in flexibility, and to embrace a new definition of what it means to feel secure and comfortable. Uranus is not just removing the foundation for giggles. He's doing this because we are getting into a different type of era there. Where have we surrendered our freedom? What are some things that where we can rise up and build our own type of stuff? Show that we don't need others to provide for us in a sense, but that we can provide for ourselves, that we can show up and kind of do more there, Gemini. Because even just thinking about, when you think about like 9 to 5 jobs, there's not even real safety in that, in a sense. It's not to say that you're going to lose your job or anything, but things are different. Where you could, people could lean on that structure. There are these layoffs that are happening. So it's like we got to reevaluate how, prices are going up as far as like housing. There are these people, everyone's having this, essentially needing a roommate. So it's just like, how are we adapting with the future? And what is this future looking like for us? Getting us asking these deeper questions. How do we come to lean about maybe even like establishing a new sense of community, possibly even with this energy? But also, this can coincide with like environmental changes, natural disasters, and any sort of groundbreaking discoveries related to the planet. So, figuring out how you associate with and how you treat this space that we call Earth, this home space. And, of course, climate change has been something that's been talked about, and, global warming and things. And we're not here to, argue about that, but I do feel like it is noticing how things have changed. I've been talking with some people as far as like, you remember, at least in the, like in the United States, where there were, I remember where I grew up, it was, you had very visible seasons. But now it goes from this sort of like cold mess, and then there are these random hot days in between, and then everything's just kind of wet and damp, and then it's summer. And it's just like, what happened? And then before you know it, the summers are kind of short, and then you get to fall, which doesn't really happen. Summer's going until November, and then it's like fall and spring, the equinoxes are almost disappearing. There's almost not this sense of balance. So just something to think about with this energy. But let's get your last oracle card here and see what's going on with that, Gemini. Gemini, I even feel like this is almost you kind of creating almost like a new dialogue with others as well. Like, it's very interesting that I feel like it's coming through there. So, thank you guys. And this has been going around a little bit. So you have the Angels of the 7 Chakras here, which is a card of power, truth, and connection here, Gemini. And I feel that with this energy that I do feel like there is a different connection that is happening with you in this energy. That there are some things that maybe need to be cleansed out, maybe some certain ideas, maybe some feelings that we've been kind of clinging on that have been needing some space. Something that's, I just feel like it's just like I feel your routine and maybe even how you're interacting day to day is just it's a little bit different. It's a little more not as, there's still this curiosity, but it's a more kind of focused sort of curiosity in a sense. I feel like there's this, it's like as you start to unlock these different levels of you here, because I feel like this is through the experiences that life are going to teach you. And I really feel like this Pisces season is one that you can really kind of tune into some sort of deeper blockages here, whether this be maybe in the root chakra, maybe we're in a sort of been in like this survival mode here, maybe our energies have been kind of turned down, maybe there's been this, as if like something with the heart, with our throats, maybe even with our intuition, our connection with source. But I do feel like that this is a time to kind of maybe even get into this sort of like, because Gemini energy is one that in order to pursue and get all these stimuli and get all these experiences, Gemini energy is one that can go and go and go and go when need be. So I feel like this is you even kind of challenging your energies a bit more kind of slowly, more intentionally, you know, being something where you need to be checked in a little bit more, like whether this is through, maybe instead of like running on the treadmill, maybe this is doing high intensity interval training, or instead of doing like I don't like, maybe even instead of doing like a yoga, doing like maybe trying like a Tai Chi or whatever that's, I mean, we still may have to do yoga after that, but I feel like there's a new truth, a new power that's coming into you here, Gemini. Maybe we're investing in ourselves in a different type of way, but excuse me. Let me get your last tarot cards here and see what's going on with this energy. Alright, Gemini. Thank you guys. Last little bit here. Alright, so you have the Two of Swords. Not of Pentacles here. The Two of Swords, the Six of Wands, the Three of Pentacles, the Seven of Pentacles, the Emperor, and the Hermit card here, Gemini. And let's switch back over. And let's start with the Hermit, because I feel that it's interesting that you got both of the cards that resonate with those energies, the 17th card being the Star card here, and the 9th card being the Hermit. And in this Hermit, there is a star here, Gemini. And I feel like that it's you reflecting on this type of, interesting, I'm getting it like it's like a star power in a sense. You know, there's something where I feel like with the Six of Wands, it's like you're showing up for, it's like I feel like it's like you're showing up for your group in a different type of way. There's a different way of how you're kind of in collaboration. You know, maybe even for some, they might be taking on this leadership role, whether this be maybe in a business, possibly, or I just feel like it's just you more so kind of taking charge of the dialogue, but in a way that I feel invites others to be a bit more assertive, to not feel like they just have to follow your lead, but just like invite this more kind of inquisitive type of energy here, there, Gemini. Get others kind of I feel like thinking in different perspectives here, maybe even going past, because usually I feel like in the Two of Wands, there's this figure that has this blindfold on, and I feel like it's not going just like based off of what we're seeing. It's asking a broader question, how we're interacting with the guys, how we're taking in all of the stimulation that is going on outside of us there, and how has that manifested in yourself, in the groups that you're in the work that you're doing, in the things that we're may on the opposite end not be doing, and how can we? It's this bigger sense of truth, finding this inner emperor or something here, Gemini, coming with this. I was saying that Aries energy, that's the emperor. Something here I feel like is really kind of wanting you to get started, and even talking about this leadership here. You got a lot of the cardinal signs with Aries, Cancer, and Capricorn being here. So very interesting, Gemini. I think I'm going to leave that there, but if anything resonated with you, or if you like that, give it a thumbs up. And share this, Gemini, if you know someone who's been it's very fascinating. I just feel like it's like there's this healing energy as you're doing something. We're cleansing. It's either there's this need of changing of perspectives, or even needing to maybe learning to meet something deeper. There's a blockage that's happening there, something that is needing to be cleansed, and how we're just interacting a little bit differently, being more mindful here. But it's very interesting, Gemini. And subscribe there, you star. Hit that bell button to get notified around these videos each week. And actually, Gemini, speaking of that, just with because how my schedule is going to be working now, I'm going to be cutting down to just, and I'll make a formal post on that a little bit later after I finish up finish up the monthly spreads. But just with the schedule, I may just be doing just the monthly and the yearly ones for this, with how things have been filling up there. And I'm enjoying being this busy, and I do love doing this stuff on YouTube, but I just want to make sure I'm not spreading myself too thin, because I know how I can get sometimes. So that's just something to be mindful of. And also a reminder too that I am still open for personal readings. So if that's something you find yourself curious in, Gemini, you want to learn a bit more about yourself, how you're tuning to the energies. I've actually met now two Geminis that have their moon in Pisces, and I met one just not too long ago that has their moon in Cancer. I always find that Gemini with water energy, that's always fascinating. But also, speaking of Cancer energy, Gemini, but definitely check all that stuff out for the description box there for booking a reading with me there, Gemini. But also, look at you getting the hottest ticket to come over to my other channel. Not that you need it, but if you have any Cancer in your placement there, Gemini, we can find out together. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Mars, Saturn. Come on over to the Cherubim, friends. I do videos Monday through Friday there. We discuss lunar shenanigans, and I do tarot card spreads based off what sign she's in, what phase she's in. It's fantastic time there, Gemini. And all that housekeeping is down in the description box below. But let me get your surprise cards here. So I can get you out of here, Gemini. And you have the King of Cups here. And the King of Cups for me, Gemini, is just, it's giving me this energy of new feelings coming up for you, in a sense. Things that we hadn't experienced before. Something is evolving, I feel, with this King of Cups here. And it's like, in understanding this evolution within you, this helps you. I feel like this changes your interaction within your groups, in a sense. I feel like we're moving with this different sense of wisdom, this more sort of emotional security, in a sense. Not feeling a need to maybe even prove our points, but understand, again, taking something as neither good nor bad, but just as facts. It's this, in this other deck, which I'm about to pull from, it reminds me kind of the ahimsa, where it's this energy of meeting things, or like, it's like transcending our judgment and reactions through compassion, you know. And again, we're not necessarily, we see where an energy may be operating in a lower expression, but I feel like it's, instead of just labeling that as bad, it's like, what can we do to change this stuff? And but or, you know, not feeling that you need to maybe change someone's mind, in a sense, letting them find their own way of balance, you know, going about your journey. What does this lesson teach you? What is this connection? How's this gotten you thinking maybe a little bit differently, you know? But thank you guys, I love that. Thank you. But you have, and that's interesting, kind of ties in with your journey, because both of these cards are the 22nd card, and this is the card of wisdom there, Gemini. Very King of Swords, one of your cards. But I do feel like this is very wise, Gemini. Like, this is something where I feel, you know, where, again, wherever your Gemini placements may fall, I do feel like there's this newer energy, whether this be your sun placement. This can be an opportunity for a deeper understanding of who you are. Moon placement, you know, what I personally need, you know, you know, rising, how do I want to show up in the world, you know. Mercury, how, you know, what I've learned, how I've come to communicate, how I've processed these information, just different things. Mars, maybe even how I take action, how I respond to certain things. Just like wherever this is happening, you know, because Pluto is that kind of shamanic energy, that energy that has you go very deep, puts you in the state of extremes, so that you can really face the kind of raw you know, and then love that side of however they respond, and how can we heal and grow from that. So very interesting, Gemini. I think I'm going to leave that there. So you stay safe out there with all this evolution and you know, even with that Chiron and that North Node energy, that stuff is maybe a little difficult. Won't say it'll be a challenge, but it could create a lot of opportunities for you there, Gemini. But raise your vibration to the roof, you know, however that may be looking like for you, because this is very interesting. I do feel like some sort of like enlightenment, some sort of awakening is kind of happening with you. You get tapping into that star power, whatever that's looking like. And I will catch you on the next one. Later.